This maximum support bill hasn't passed as legislation yet. Now, let's say it passes in like piecemeal, bit by bit by bit. What's the most important aspect of this legislation that you would like to see go first, if you had to prioritize?
I think there are two components that are, of course, immediately impactful if implemented right away. One is the connectivity issue that was discussed, like access to information, internet, so there is no disruption in the Iranian people not being cut off from the world, literally, but also as a means of having this kind of support, be able to better organize, communicate with one another, to orchestrate any kind of campaign that we need, whether it's outside Iran, but particularly inside Iran. So that's really crucial and vital. And I don't see why that could be delayed, because it's not just about Iran. If you look at the fight against all totalitarian system, the number one demand was information. And it's also important for journalists, because they are also in the same boat as fellow Iranians, to communicate and be able to report the news. So that's very important. And then number two, again, is the issue of when you are faced with a dire economic situation. The Iranian people are literally starving, literally starving. And on top of it, if they were to commit to the kind of labor strikes that are needed to paralyze the system, which is the ultimate way to force the regime to collapse, it cannot be without some kind of a sustenance or some kind of compensation. That's why it's critical to make sure that we can come up with the means to creatively sustain and fund those campaigns, and of course strengthening civil society. So I think these are the two most important components. As I was saying before, like 40 years ago when I was starting things, there was no internet, there was no X or Instagram or Telegram or what have you. Information is out there, and therefore speaking the truth. And I think the media, even if media often acts as observers and reporters, but there's an element that is important. The media was not impartial to putting an end in apartheid in South Africa. The media was not impartial about the people who were stuck behind the Iron Curtain at the epoch of the Cold War and the Soviet Union. In fact, I remember in my youth reading articles in some medias that will argue the case for, if you will, the dissidents or pro-democracy advocates